Tommy Wirkola. Come on up. And then we have the two writers of this majestic masterpiece, Pat Casey and Josh Miller. Very festive. There we go. Can we have a round of applause for these maniacs? Wow, I don't even know anything. I love Christmas. I love, my wife's here, and she knows. How much do I love Christmas, babe? A lot. You desecrated every single part of Christmas. I'm going to stop. Whose idea was it to dismember and decapitate John Leguizamo of children?
We always had a kill where he was pulling someone up the chimney, and then at what point did that become the...
Well, when I read it, that was one of the first things I said, this is too good of a kill to have in the middle of the movie. This got to be the final kill where he actually used the magic and go up the chimney. So, yeah, it was a combination of things, but it was always there. It was just shoved to the end of it and made, build up to the magic of Santa struggling throughout the film, and then with a hopefully good payoff.
Yeah, it works. It was awesome. I mean, there's so many rounds of applause, but that one in particular just tipped it over the edge. Going all the way back to the very beginning, Josh, Pat, how did this film start? Where did this whole journey begin?
Without getting too rambling, we were friends in Bloomington, Minnesota, and started in junior high. Yeah, school rankings. But we basically made a version of this in high school. Again, I won't go with a long story, but that always kind of stuck with us over the years as we thought it was funny, but we always thought it was too stupid to ever get made into a movie.
As it turns out, it was exactly stupid enough.
But I think it was it's one of those things that feels obvious after the fact, but I feel like somewhere around 2000, we really entered this debate of whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It is a Christmas movie.
It's not a Christmas.
See, the debate. So basically, we were like, what if we just made a version of Die Hard that is undeniably Christmas?
That was really the goal, to make this fully an action movie, but also fully a Christmas movie. It's not just...
Well, Christmas movies are about believing in Santa. It's always the danger if he's going to be able to deliver his presents. And I mean, why we were so happy when Tommy got involved is when we sold it, we always assumed it was going to turn into like a PG Paul Blart movie, or maybe just a full John Wick, and they would kind of strip out the sappiness. But we're like, no, it has to be as violent as John Wick, and it's just sappy as hell. It's like
it's got to be a full miracle on 34th Street. And Tommy really embraced both sides, which was great.
Yes, for sure. I mean, that was the appealing part to me. Yes, the crazy action and the humor and the gore and all that stuff I knew, I loved, and I knew we could pull off. But the really interesting appeal was the fact that it really felt like a Christmas movie from the first draft I read. And that's the kind of I knew that if we could sell that, the Harbour film, especially the relationship between Judy and Sam, we can go as crazy as we want with the rest. And yeah, we did. And we went for it.
And then, so you talk about the different drafts of the script. When you first turned this in, so you brought it to Universal, they somewhere was crazy enough to say, yes, we should do this thing. And then the different drafts, what happened to the violence? Did they say, we got to lean back a little bit, we don't want to offend everybody?
Well, so Matt Riley was the exec at Universal who fought the pitch, and we only, because this was 2020, COVID was still it was March, but it was more people still thought there might be a writer's strike, which is crazy that anyone thought that would happen once COVID really hit. But Riley gave us two things. He said, you gotta write this really fast. We can't afford the North Pole. And we're like, check. He's like, I just go nuts. And we're like, what? Like, again, we assume Paul.
Yeah, we were scared that phone call was going to be like, let's make this PG-13 guys instead, which was like, just guts flying everywhere. And like, okay, we can do that.
And the time we can talk about is also because I had to get under a certain budget, so we had to keep cutting out bad guys. And Tommy was always like, don't worry about it, we'll sneak them back in. And then at some point, by the time we saw what they were planning for the big barn fight, we're like, there's like 50 guys.
Yeah, no, then our producers, the guy in Ella was like, you always do going to bring a lot of them back. Let's not argue about it right now, let's just argue about it later and sneak them in when we can. And I would say, like, I honestly did feel at certain points when we sent them the script to the studio, we did some rewrites, that they would push back. Like, for example, when we pull a guy into the snowblower, like moments like that. But no, they never said anything. So go for it. Yeah, so that was very encouraging, and it really helped the film. I think that people could go nuts.
I think it helped some of your producers make Nobody in the John Wick movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've come so far since Silent Night. You know, just obliterated parents and studios got terrified. So it's amazing that I feel like we've kind of come full circle, which is embraced. But so Tommy, you've got a little bit of a track record of killing people in the snow. So Tommy's
personally, but yes.
Yes, Dead Snow 2, which how did you become involved? At what point did you come on? Was it, Dead Snow and obviously Hansel and Gretel, so you've got a chill in your bones, and you're Norwegian, right? So you're basically, like, we're amongst the Viking here. This is the Northman.
Yeah. Of all things, I couldn't describe myself as a Viking, but yeah, no, it's true. Like, and there was a lot of things that I loved about the script, and obviously the fact, when they first started the script, it's like Harbour Santa Claus, which it is kind of like in a way. But in the back of my head, I was like, okay, but how can you sell the fact that Sam's going to take all these guys and really have a chance? But then they brought in the Viking backstory, which I just loved, of course, and thought it was a really smart way of somehow grounding the whole thing. But no, it was one of those things where, from the first moment coming on board, everybody felt like we wanted to make the same movie, which is always a big thing. And yeah, crazy enough, I'm from the very north of Norway, as far north as you can get, basically. But we found a place that was cold enough to actually shoot the film, which is Winnipeg, Canada. But it really added to the film as well. Like, those are in the end fight that was so cold and miserable to shoot that scene. But it really shows we were out there in real snow in the middle of the night. Those are not CGI breasts, it really added to the film as well, being out there for real. And yes, the Dead Snow experience came in handy for sure.
Yeah, and so you said, this is the first film that, I think if I'm right, this is the first film you've made in which you didn't write a script, is that correct?
A second, I also did a film called What Happened Monday, which I didn't write, but yeah, no, so, but again, like, the first thing I said when they sent me the script was that I felt like I could have wrote it. No, not like, I felt like I was born to make this film. And because these guys really just have my senses and humor, and sense of fun, like, and a combination of extreme violence and humor, of course. But again, like I said, they really had a heart in the script, which is so appealing to me.
And as you were writing the script, so there's lots of Christmas movie references in there. Did you just in that COVID period, it seems that like everyone who didn't have kids, I'm so jealous of you all. But anyone who didn't have kids just spent like months watching movies. Did you just sit in like the summer of 2020 and just watch Christmas?
Well, no,
We would have loved to have done that.
We didn't have time because we basically offhand. So we had Sonic. We also wrote Sonic the Hedgehog Part
3. There we go.
But so Sonic 1 was about to come out since beginning of January 2020, and it just dawned on us, this is probably a good time to pitch a movie.
Yeah, we got to get out there and sell something just in case everybody hates Sonic.
So we gave our agents like a list of stuff, and they were like kind of picked ones they liked the best, and then we were like, we also have this other idea. It's basically just Die Hard with Santa, and they're like, that's the one. Then we put all this work into these other ideas, a little fleshed out.
But yeah, we were out pitching Violent Night the week that Sonic came out. I think maybe we pitched it to Universal maybe the morning after the Sonic premiere, so we were all hungover and looking terrible. But we did it, and then it was like, because the writer's strike was coming up, they were like, you gotta write this as fast as possible, but also Sonic 2 at the same time, so we wrote both movies simultaneously and just like absolute blind panic. Well, everyone else was like watching Netflix all day, we didn't have time to watch
everyone else was like two weeks into COVID, and they're like, I'm not insane, let's have a Zoom party where we wear tuxedos, and I was like, what?
You gotta write 30 pages today, man.
Yeah.
We don't have time for your Zoom party. party.
So I guess your question, thankfully we're all watching Christmas stuff, so it's just embedded. Mostly we were rewatching Die Hard movies and all the Die Hard knockoffs. That was kind of what we wanted to bone up on.
Yeah, we never wrote an outline for this movie, so anytime we got confused, we would just rewatch parts of
What part of Die Hard 2 is this? Oh, this is where the guys who think are good guys turn out to be in on it too.
So you said you have to plow through this. How long did it take you to write into
4 or 5 weeks. And obviously there's remakes. You know, Stallone's always a good Rocky in 3 days. First draft. I mean, more drafts after that. They start shooting up. Oh shit.
And then Tommy, how much writing did you have involved? Or?
Well, obviously you come in and you have a lot of ideas and you brainstorm with these guys and then just threw them tons of ideas and then went off and wrote it. And like I said, it helps when you feel like you're just making the same film and you have the same sensibilities. But no, it really was a film where no idea was too crazy and somehow these guys made it work. There was no filter. And yeah, it was a fast process. Like, I think I got to send the script, Guy, when was it?
Summer. 6 months we were in the picture.
Summer last year, and then we sent the script to Harbour a few weeks later. We came on board, and then we started rewriting it. You guys were working on that while we were prepping the film, and then we were shooting in January. So really fast production on this.
And so you referenced Harbour. When you guys were writing, did you have him in mind? Was there anyone that you were kind of...
We did. It's crazy. I guess it's just he was so undeniably right for it, because we pictured him in our minds. No one asked us who we thought we should cast. Like, they just told us they were sending it to him, and we thought that was...
But yeah, like, we always sort of like fantasy cast movies just to get ourselves on the same page with each other of like, what's Santa like? We're like, hey, he's like David Harbour. And then, like, we didn't even have that discussion with you guys. And then you were like, oh, we're sending out David Harbour. We're like, yes, that was exactly right!
It was one of those meetings, me and the producers in the studio had where the casting process, you go to this list, and agencies present you ideas. And it was truly one of those moments where somebody brought up Harbour's name and we all just looked at each other. It's like, oh my God, he's so perfect.
Yeah.
So we sent him the script, and 2 days later I was scouting with him. And he was down in New Orleans shooting a film for Netflix at the time. He was super skinny and shaved his head, so complete opposite of how Santa was going to look. But he loved the script, he had some great ideas on the character. And yeah, he came on board like that same week we sent it to him. So again, like, I'm pretty sure I didn't think about it until after, but I think it could be pretty scary for an actor to do the role of Santa Claus. So many actors obviously done it, so many movies, so many genres, we didn't accept the Christmas movie, but he really, I have to say, delivered and beyond, like, in a memorable sense, and embraced all that, of course, but also the physical nature, and loved the training and the working out, which is, of course, Jason and we're so good at training our actors. So yeah, the ideal Santa in front of me on camera.
And was there anything that... Did he push back at anything, or is he just like more, like the same as the uni and the...
No, I mean, it's always, this kind of movie is always a balance with tone, right? Like, when you go too far, and when you have to push more, and when you have to pull back, and so there was a lot of talk about that, but we had a lot of fun in coming up with the unraveling of Santa. He was really onto that, like, okay, where do we start him? The image of the Coca-Cola Santa Claus with the perfect red suit, the small glasses, he really wanted to start there, and then we slowly reveal the layers beneath the costume and the Viking heritage and all that stuff. So each fight we kind of came up, okay, we're going to see that in this fight, and in that fight we're going to reveal that part. And it was more about, okay, how do we slowly but surely make sure that we don't do too much too fast, basically. So the first 2 fights, he's barely hanging on, barely scraping along. And David was very conscious about that. He didn't want to feel like a hero straight off the bat, and just really like with John McClane, like he's barely clinging on. So that he was very a lot of ideas when it comes to that.
And there's so many visual gags that within the violence, the candy cane, all that kind of stuff. But the one moment when he stitches himself up, which is more kind of Rambo, I think, than McClane. But then when the wrapping paper comes on, and you felt it in the room. I mean, you talk about hot, right? Because we all love Christmas. And that just felt like it was so insane. But it was also so right for Christmas. In the script all along.
That was part of the pitch, and that's a classic time saying everyone being on the same page, because that was part of the pitch. Always.
Andy Kane and stitching himself up with Christmas wrapping stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a key element right from the get-go. It's like, how do we make this a classic 80s Arnold action movie, but also...
But Tommy, I feel like at some point, the wrapping paper was always in there, but I feel like at some point you're like, Harbour wants even more Christmas things.
Yeah, that was an example of Harbour. He loved the idea of using Christmas elements to fix itself up. So in the beginning, I think it was only ending with the wrapping paper. I think so. So he said, okay, how can we use Christmas gap or Christmas items to do the whole thing? So we came up with the decorations and the needle and all that stuff was kind of came from Harbour, and these guys went on and wrote it. But yeah, he just wanted. Because we all, like you said, we all seen that scene so many times before. We just really want to make it special.
I mean, it was like that with all the fight stuff too. It's like in the script we had a ton of the different Christmas gags of like how he was going to kill people with this stuff, and a lot of that wound up in the movie, but not always in the exact same spot where it was in the original script. But then like the stunt guys and Tommy, everyone kept just like adding more and more. I'm just like, what's more Christmas stuff you can do?
Well, yeah, it helps when you already know he's in North's making it, so it's just like, I don't know, action, you know. They'll figure it out then when we can.
And the shoot itself, so yeah, you were up in
Winnipeg.
It was Winnipeg. I did a little. So that's where they shot the actual town where he did it. It's where they shot Hallmark's A Kiss Before Christmas. So and there's I read like this local. What's the local place, like Manitoba or something?
Manitoba's
like that. I don't know. So that newspaper said, this is unlike any movie that's been shot here before. It's not like Hallmark's A Kiss Before Christmas. What was it like shooting up there? Or like what period? Because you've obviously got a ton of interiors, but then it's called the shit outside, right?
Yeah, it really was. And they had great tax incentives. That's why but obviously a lot of winter stuff and snow and great crew. But it was funny, like when we showed up, the movie had two very important things. One of the end sequences, one of the main part of the movie is that we needed a mansion and we needed a big hill that's stunned at the end where he goes down the sleigh. And Winnipeg doesn't have any of those things.
No reindeer either.
No reindeer either, that's true. We have to go and shoot those in another place. So we actually, for example, when Santa goes to the sleigh and jumps on the snowmobile, we had to build that with like 50 truckloads of snow, because I'm joking, there's not a single hill in Winnipeg.
It's true, yeah.
So fun. But it was a great place to shoot, even though in that kind of cold, it is like minus 25 to minus 20 degrees Celsius with a little bit of wind always, which is always kind of like, crews get tired and annoyed, actors get annoyed, and it just puts everybody on edge shooting in an environment like that. But again, I really think it helps in setting that, just telling the nature of a Christmas movie, of course. We don't have to do CGI. But yeah, no, the actors did not love the cold. We can be honest about that.
Yeah, the shuttle driver who would take you from like the parking lot to the soundstage at one point was like, a few years ago it was colder in Winnipeg than it was on Mars.
The music in the film, obviously there's a ton of Christmas songs. Bryan Adams gets I think probably the song.
Tommy can talk about the
at what point did that all come together? Was the music supervisor, or did you know going in?
Well, that scene was not supposed to have any music. When I came on board, one of my first thoughts was, I really want this scene when he finds the hammer. I want to go full Sam Raimi, like no music, shock suits, quick cuts, just brutal fucking beatings in that, like where he crushes heads and skulls and knees and everything. And we shot it, and we cut it, and me and the editor, Jamie, was here somewhere. We were looking at it, like, this is too much. This is actually too violent. So we said, and Bryan Adams is a Christmas song that was. You remember in the old days when there was the weekly radio show with the top 10 hits?
Yeah.
Every single Christmas in Norway, that song would come back and hit number one. My entire, when I was a kid. So I figured, okay, let's try it, just for fun. We don't have to cut it to it. Let's just put that song over the sequence and see what happens. And it just really made that sequence, just made it funny and crazy, but not too violent, which it just softened the whole thing and made it so much funnier. But of course, coming up with those Christmas songs and finding the right songs, the right sequence was a lot of fun.
You were always talking about the end credits song.
Yeah, Slade, Christmas Everywhere was a favorite of mine. We also have Donde Está Santa Claus, which is a great Christmas song, which I never heard before. The music supervisor brought in that I loved, and we used in the second fight in the film. So it's also cool that we can hopefully show some new Christmas songs as well, not just the songs that we played with that.
Well, I hate to break it to you, that Bryan Adams song, I don't even know if it charted in the US, but I love that it's gigantic.
That was a huge hit. He was so more with it. And actually, I think he re-recorded it for us.
I don't know what to say. I mean, he's not doing anything else. That's incredible. Any questions in the audience? Yes, right here.
Well, not really a question, but I just wanted to thank you for so many practical effects because it's noticeable. And also, I really think this is going to be a classic film.
Yeah.
The goal was to make something that you can watch hopefully every Christmas, and when the kids have gone to bed, you can put it on. That was, of course, the goal, and to contribute to that very small bracket of films. And it was. What other already Christmas movies is there? Like Bad Santa, probably. Which again was a big inspiration in my head because I've always felt if you pull off the part of the film, again, like the relationship, you can do whatever you want. And Bad Santa was such a great example of that. So hopefully we can join that company.
But I think it's kid appropriate because most R-rated Christmas movies don't have any like Christmas messaging in them. Invasion USA.
Is Alfonso in the room?
I was going to say we have a child.
Alfonso. So Alfonso, he's a friend of the Whole Beyond Fest. He has his 11-year-old son here. I think he's the youngest. I said it's plugging, but as a young man, as a child who still believes in Santa, what did you think? Is this a film for children like yourself? Yes. There you have it. You're succeeded. Universal is just like they're changing their predictions right now. Question. Yes, turn right here.
Casting Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah, Beverly D'Angelo, the greatest of the Griswolds. Tell us about that.
Well, that's a film, again, not to speak of Norway all the time, but every 23rd of December, the evening before Christmas, that movie plays on Norwegian television, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies. And when her name came up, it was a no-brainer to ask her, and she had so much fun on this film. And for example, that opening scene with her where she's pacing back and forth in the hallway, that was her just going crazy with swear words. We didn't write half of that.
I was going to ask because I wrote it down. Don't shit in my mouth and call it chocolate cake. Tell me it was Beverly.
That might have been us.
That was you. She just played around that one, yes.
Yeah. Next question. Green sweater right there? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I finally got called on it.
That's it. You wear a green sweater, you're going to get called on every time.
Yeah. So my question's for you, Pat and Josh. Like, your guys have written all these crazy comedies, and they're so over the top. Have you ever written a joke where you're like, this is a little too fucked up, or this is a little too weird, or maybe we pushed it too far? What did you have to rein in? Because across all your filmography, all your films are so crazy. Was there ever a joke where you're like, guys, we might need to...
Did you see the guy that got stabbed in the eye with a star and then set on fire? No, they don't go too far.
If anything, it's more, is this too stupid? Because the thing that I still can't believe is in there is we wrote the joke that Elva named her child Bertram. And we just kind of look at each other and it was deleted before the producers Universal saw it. We're like, this ain't like that. destroyed even this type of reality. It sailed through.
Yeah, I don't think we censored ourselves on this one really at all. Definitely in the Sonic movies, we sometimes have to take things out. Whenever it's time for Sonic to wisecrack at Dr. Robotnik and I don't have a fresh one, sometimes he just says, eat shit, motherfucker. We'll come back and swap that out for something.
Tommy, is this the point that you tell us that Berkshire is the #1 most popular name in the world?
No, but honestly, that was one of those things, again, pleasant surprise. When we cut the film and we showed it's kind of funny, I guess we keep it. And the first time we tested it, people were just laughing out. It was just played so well, that joke, from the first one we tested it. So, yeah, it just shows. That's the lesson. No joke is too dumb.
3 years from now, a Christmas show, we're going to have My Name is Butch.
Yeah.
Sweatshirts, next question. Yeah,
Part 2.
I wanted to ask about the idea of showing the brutality of the Home Alone traps and kind of where does it happen?
Yeah, the brutality of the Home Alone traps is amazing. The nail, and up until John Leguizamo getting Blitzkrieg, the nail was unbelievable.
That was also always part of the pitch. We had Tommy.
The nail was Tommy's idea.
I mean, Andre's in the audience here. It's
Home Alone came out at a very formative time for us when we were kids. And I feel like that was just, that every single trap in Home Alone would have killed the wet bandits. We would talk about that from time to time. So just when it came time to do an R-rated Christmas movie, we were like, let's just do a Home Alone to really show the havoc. But even so, it's half that shit when they killed Katie before she really got killed anyway.
No, but that was the first draft I got the Home Alone scene, but it was a lot smaller. And yeah, that was one of the first things I said to you guys. You should really just blow this thing up, and this should be one of the showstoppers in the film. Because you guys, I always felt those traps would be horrible. Make horrific things to a human body if they were ever. So we wanted to show part of that, and yes, the nail is, what people don't know is that's actually a real nail going through his shin. But yeah, and I think at one point though, for budget reasons and time, we had to cut some stuff there, but at one point she sets Kennedy on fire.
Yeah, that scene used to end with a big human bird.
And I think what makes it so funny, and we had in the script for the first time as well, was that Trudy doesn't know that she's hurting these people. This thing is funny, and actually, again, there's a moment right after he killed Kennedy with a sledgehammer, we cut, but it was one of our favorite jokes, but it just didn't play that, we had to get out of scene that time, but Santa goes back and gets Trudy and leaves her outside, and they pass the dead body, and at that point, Santa's taken this rag and just thrown over her face, and Santa asks, is she taking a nap? And yeah, she's dead tired.
We'll save that for the sequel. Yeah. Don't repeat that line ever.
What does everybody on stage want for Christmas?
Yeah.
A sequel, a franchise.
I don't know, I just asked this in an interview today, and I said, because I'm from Norway, and in the north, I'm not joking, we eat a lot of reindeer, so I said, a good reindeer dish.
Shame on you.
And the journalist just looked at me and said, you eat Rudolph? I do.
Dead reindeer, that's what Tommy Wirkola wants for Christmas. At the back. Yes, you waving. Hi.
What was each and every one of yours' favorite scene out of the movie?
Favorite scene?
All three.
I like so many of them, but the one that makes me laugh the most is when Thorpe and the Kill Squad show up, and Candy Cane and Gingerbread are like, he might be the real Santa. Just that moment kills me.
Yeah. There's a couple of Home Alone for sure, a lot of fun to shoot, and it's so fun seeing that scene with the crowd. I also love the end fight and the end kill, which we discussed already. The end kill, what makes it for me is the kill itself is great, but it's just Santa's manic laughter afterwards. When he's holding his stomach. Yeah, that's a good movie.
The one that really got me watching it tonight, as far as I'll just kind of be like, I can't believe this is all in the movie. After all this violence happens, and then we have the like quiet, sappy scene of Santa just talking to Trudy on the walkie-talkie. But and so another thing that we were all on the same page with, and thankfully Harbour was, is we got some pushback that like Santa should be cuter with Trudy, and we're like, no, Santa loves kids, but he lives in the North Pole, which is a bunch of freaky elves. He doesn't interact with them. But when Santa starts fondly talking about smashing heads, he kind of forgets that he's talking a little bit.
Bad man. Yeah, all the way right back there. Yep. The lady right there.
I just wanted to ask, whose idea was it, like, for Santa's look, with the tattoos, the man bun, like, who came up with that?
The dad.
He was in tattoos, but what you talk about, his outfit, and another detail that you added, or someone added, it wasn't us that I love, is that Santa's sleigh, if you look really closely, is made out of a Viking longship.
That was an idea I had, but I think the tattoos were already there.
Yeah.
And we went back and forth, and there was a lot of work in writing and getting into his body, but they're all Viking runes, of course, and they each tell a story. And with this combination of things, like the man bun, I think was Harbour. I think he said he would put it up before the fight. Again, a combination of ideas and people coming together. But we knew we wanted him, again, like the review I talked about earlier, to slowly reveal that thing. And the moment where he shows his tattoos, I knew I wanted it to be a big moment. That's why I shot it in slow motion, actually. Just to really play it, like the shock of seeing Santa Claus with all these crazy tattoos.
We always love the idea of just giving Santa like a real origin story that we ended up kind of holding back on what ended up in the finished film, but like the whole Viking thing and like showing his tattoos before you learned anything else about his backstory is just to make everybody be like, what's up with these tattoos?
It's like the Santa taking his shirt off gets as big a gasp as Brad Pitt taking his shirt off.
These are your people. Yeah. Okay, Rick, got a couple more gentlemen right here.
Yeah, I want to know, was there more to the Viking backstory that didn't get into the film?
Oh yeah, there was plenty. We just we basically decided to cut it because we wanted people to fill in their own blanks a little bit there, and if we're lucky enough that people embrace this film, we can go back and revisit it later on.
Santa prequel? Is that
But no, we did. It was a much longer scene with Santa talking to Trudy and tell very specifically what he used to do. But we cut that, even though, again, like it was a hard cut and came late because that scene, again, it's very short now where he's talking about the skull crusher, but the scene between Trudy and Santa was some of the best acting between them. It was so great, it's so emotional, and him talking about his backstory and how he started and how he ended up. But it was just too much of that part of the film too, and I thought that we could say that for a possible sequel.
Yeah, where we can really dig in and possibly see more of it. Shoot some old timey Viking stuff.
Yeah.
We're back. Okay, over there, yeah.
A little bit more of a comment than a question. A couple of years ago, this movie came out called Halloween Kills. But after seeing this,
Christmas
Dies Tonight. Jason, nobody kills or kicks as much ass as Santa, so I don't think
Did people catch the Halloween kills?
You did it better.
Somebody today told me that Santa Claus should be brought into like a Mortal Kombat video game. Yes! That was a great idea. You should talk to somebody.
Guy, get on that.
Yeah,
Stick him in Sonic 3. Okay, gentlemen all the way back, yeah.
So you talked about all the action movies you were revisiting in anticipation of this. Were there any classic Christmas movies you also revisited to achieve the moments of sentimentality throughout the film?
Again, we just didn't quite have time, but I think stuff you watch when you're a little kid is just kind of fried into your brain.
Yeah, I mean, like, we thought about, Miracle on 34th Street, Prancer. Anybody remembers that movie?
Ernest Saves Christmas.
And, like, especially, like, Christmas episodes of TV shows, like Christmas episodes of, like, kid shows where Santa shows up and then at the end he's like, I gotta go finish my rounds. You know, that just always seemed like the end of the movie because that was, that would have been the end of, like, I can't even remember a specific one. Was that even a thing, or did I just imagine that? I don't know.
That's true. All right, let's go with one. Who's got the best question we'd like to close? No pressure. Everybody's smiling. Okay, we'll do a couple more because everyone's got the best question. I'll start with you.
There's a lot of like dude energy in here. I'm wondering how you involve women and femmes in the production of this movie.
A lot of dude energy. How do you involve women and femmes in the production of this movie?
Well, I mean, one of the main producers is Kelly McCormick, who produces a lot of action for 87 North, and one of the things that was very important to her, and again, to me when I came aboard, was to keep that true December relationship alive. They were there every day on set, and pushing that and making sure that stayed in there.
More than one woman, or just one?
I mean, we went out and pitched it with Kelly McCormick and Annie
More
Meyer.
than just the one?
What was that?
Is it more than just the one?
Yeah, we were pitching with two producers, but also like our costume designer.
I mean, a lot of the crew are obviously women. But you're talking about behind the camera,
Are
or?
you involved in production that you have as leads, team leads, people making calls?
Yeah, no, of course. We have a production designer, makeup artist, unit manager, production manager, script supervisor.
Yeah, that's well represented. Okay, gentlemen over here, right here.
Oh, what happened to the safecracker?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The safe cracker.
Yeah, that's the question.
Still
Part two.
Talking about visuals for this film, right? He's obviously a Viking badass, and that would probably mean that his wife is as badass, if not more.
Oh, there you go.
We're thinking, maybe she comes in the sequel or
Yeah,
Mrs. Claus. He's a Viking badass. What is his name for Mrs. Claus? She's also a Viking badass.
Yeah, she was in the script at one point where she came in the ending with the sleigh and there was a big chase in the helicopter. Complicated, but much space and we had to take it out for budget reasons, and we also decided let's not just have her come back for a camera at the end. And if we're lucky enough to do another one, let's really involve her and find a cool story and a cool way in for her. And of course, we have some ideas that ties into the Viking backstory, which could be fun to explore. But yeah, she was there in different versions of the draft, but initially it didn't make it again.
I want to see this with a helicopter and Mrs. Claus. Last question. Yes, let it right there. Yeah.
Who would you guys cast as her?
Ooh, who would you cast? You got your dream with Santa, so.
I don't know.
Charlize Theron. Yeah, I was gonna say.
We have one vote for Charlize Theron over here. Who did you want, sir?
Oh, sorry, I had a question.
No, Mrs. Claus. Do we have any more for Mrs. Claus? Otherwise, it's Charlize Theron.
I was just saying you don't think so.
Vanessa Kirby?
Winona Ryder?
Yeah, Winona.
Look what we've descended into.
Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth Moss.
You guys can expand your casting notes to the Vikings. They went all over the world. So who knows where Santa met her?
Oh, that's a good point. Should we say that for the sequel?
Yeah.
All right, I think we can wrap this up and get ready for Christmas. Ladies and gentlemen, Violent Night is